Hey, welcome back, y'all. Today I'm going to show you how I do my finish on this unstabilized curly maple, especially when I've inlaid. That's the main time that I use unstabilized wood. Right now I have about, let's see, I got 3 coats of this Truoil on it right now. This stuff is easy to come by. But what I'm going to show you is the process for putting it on, and so I've put a coat on and it's dried. Okay, I let it dry several hours, overnight. I think it says minimum of 2 hours. So what I'll do next is I want to get this finish that's on here real smooth before I apply my 4th coat. So what I'll do is I take this refined linseed oil. I think boiled linseed oil would probably work fine, but this stuff's like a little bit thinner, and it's not so gunky, really. But so I just take what I've got here is just a part of an old t-shirt, and you just need a little piece, but wrap your finger in it, and all we're doing is just getting a little bit on the finger here just to get it wet. And then we're going to take this rotten stone, and it's a fine abrasive powder, and we're going to get a little bit on our finger here, and we're just going to rub this and polish the finish that we have on there right now. And this will take a little bit, but I had one little rough spot right here that I'm gonna rub real good. But let me tell you how I've gotten to this point so far. So I put my first coat of Truoil on after staining, right? And it soaks it up pretty well, that first coat. We'll make sure you got plenty of that black where you're rubbing. But the first coat will soak into this wood pretty quickly, so you use quite a bit more on the first coat. I just rub it on with my finger, just kind of, like that, all over it, making sure I'm getting some. Just let me get a little bit more for this side. And this is the second to last time that I'm going to rub this out. So I want to make sure I get it really smooth on this one. But going back to the first coat of Truoil, I put quite a bit on. So I'll dip my finger in that Truoil probably 3 or 4 times to get enough on it to where it soaks it in. And has a little bit of coat, but you definitely don't want to put that Truoil on too thick. A lot of times when you're painting something or whatnot, especially like spray paint or something, you're trying to put as much on as you can without it running, and that's not the case on this Truoil. You want to put just an even coat and let it dry, and you want to build up your coats. We're not in a hurry on this, so the first coat takes quite a bit. And then what I did on the first coat on this one is after it dried, I hit it real lightly with like 4/0 steel wool, because there were some spots that were a little rougher, but like I said, real light. Nothing. You're not really trying to take much of anything off, just kind of smooth out some of the bumps and whatnot. And then I did rub out the finish with rotten stone after I did that steel wool. Okay, and then see, normally I don't do it this long unless it's like the second to last coat or the last coat. But I rubbed the finish, and then wipe it down real good, and I'll show you that here in a minute. We'll make sure to get all this linseed oil and rotten stone off of this knife. I'm gonna turn it around so I can get out here real good on this edge. But I just about got it. Just want to make sure I'm covering all the areas equally. When you get done, it looks real good, but I like having 4 coats on there. It seems like the first coat just really penetrates, and then can't forget the end here. The first coat doesn't do a whole lot, but then when you put that second coat on, that's really kind of like your first coat that is actually leaving a finish. So it's kind of almost like having 3 coats on there when you do 4. So, all right, I think that's probably good. I'm gonna wipe this down real good, and then you got to get it off your hands too, so wipe your hands real good and make sure we're not putting it back on there after we polish it off. Now it's gonna look a little bit hazy probably as soon as I get all this off, because I'm polishing it with a old t-shirt, and so that's gonna haze up that finish some. When we finish, after the last coat, we'll put some wax on it, and that'll make it look real good. It looks real good anyway right now, but one more coat's gonna make it look better. Okay, I think we got her dry now. Can't forget that back there. Okay, man, that looks a lot better than just a second ago. Y'all might not be able to tell the difference on the video, especially because the bright light, but it's less grainy than it was looking. There's some spots right there that I don't like that hopefully will come out with this next coat, but it looks a lot smoother than it did. It feels a lot better too. I'm just looking it over a little bit. There's a spot right there. I might hit that a little bit. I can't tell if that's raised up or down in there. Get a little more powder on there. But all right, if that didn't get it off, then it's probably not coming off. And this last coat, it's still kind of there, but I did smooth it up some. I don't know if that was kind of a bubble or what from that Truoil. Like I say, on this last coat, that's when it's really gonna cover up everything. All right, so let's get down to that. All right, so like I said, we got Truoil here, pretty common knife making finish. You know, when you're not using this unstabilized stuff, there's a lot of things that you don't have to put a coat on, but that's just a little bit on my finger, and we're gonna rub it all over this whole thing. And I'll show you here in a second how I let it dry. I've got a welding rod that I drove into the shelf on now you see I took some from the other side, from that first side, to get over here, because I'm not trying to put a real thick coat on here. I don't want runs, I don't want streaks. I just want some Truoil on it, and it feels good. It's amazing the difference that rotten stone makes. Put a little bit out here. I'm gonna go over and hang this up on the shelf, and then I'm gonna touch it just a little bit more on the shelf. Make sure that I'm not putting anything like that little dude on there. For sure, that's a piece of dried Truoil. Okay, let's go hang it up. All right, so I've got it hanging on that welding rod, just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And you got to be careful, because that Truoil starts drying pretty quickly, and you don't want to keep working it as it's drying. Sorry about the lighting, y'all. So as it starts to get tacky, you want to give up. Either that, or you need to put a little bit more on your finger, but I would say it's better to just quit. You know, if you've got it all covered, it ought to be good. So anyway, that's that on the drying. Okay, so what we'll do next after that dries is we'll go through that same process. We're gonna, you know, put a little dab of this linseed oil on there, dip it in the rotten stone, buff it out real good, and then after we're happy with the finish and it's nice and smooth and everything, we'll add a little bit of gunstock wax to it after that's all over with. I found that this process works better for me than what I was doing before, which was Truoil and this linseed oil, a mixture of that. But that oil takes so long to dry that it seemed like it was forever before it actually would set up. I mean, I'm talking like weeks, because that linseed oil is used to add to oil paint, and it's supposed to be a slow drying deal. And I've got some in a bottle that I've had for a few years, and it still hadn't even set up in that bottle yet. It's a lot thicker. I actually used it on the first 3 coats, but it was so thick whenever I was rubbing that compound in. It was just so slow going, and I knew that something thinner, you know, I'd be able to buff it a lot easier. So anyway, I hope that helps you out. There might be a better way, but this has worked way better than what I was doing previously, and so I've been real happy with it. I definitely, I probably say it way too much, but I definitely don't know everything about all this stuff, but this is what's worked for me pretty good, and this is what other people do also, so it's not just me. But if you got any comments, leave them. I appreciate y'all watching. Appreciate y'all who've subscribed and keep watching my videos. And I hope that it's giving you good information. I hope it's not just you know, for entertainment or something. But it's you know, if it's good for y'all, then I'm gonna keep doing it. And I appreciate all of it. I appreciate the comments and the likes and the follows and everything. So, or it's called subscribing. It's YouTube, right? So anyway, y'all take care, and we'll catch you next time on something new. Thanks for watching.